pushing your hand down on a trampoline, using the sensational gravity of inverse contrast to sell supersymmetrical certainty but as a potential memory of something far off. SC. If everyone plays the part, it works. Memorizing theorems for the sake of tackling the proofs. First assumptions a priori to base frame the neural adjustments. Sound and creative, but did you mean it to be critical? TM. I'm trying to say something you would agree with. Laugh. I'm running late, staying up late, but just want to say, how could things have ended up being wrong, by turning out different than Jesus intended? Why would he die that way, if it would just lead people astray in your opinion? Leading them to the tree of knowledge. The knowledge of my good and not my evil, however you put it. SC. Lensing your value through contrast. Okay, I'll be quick then. Are you asking me if he did it on purpose? It would take a lot to say I know that or not. Gifts from the gods can be dangerous when handled by a careless. I imagine most things have different sides or angles of refractive orient potential. Trademark. Okay, goodbye for now. 19.5. TM. I think I understand about the water feature in the park. Turning it upside down provides the ballast of expanse. The water flowing up is like dark energy, the energetic expanse that science has observed or measured. As I thought about it, I also thought about a pyramid. Do you think the black tiles coming down over the stone in uneven ratios could be understood like dark matter? SC. Like water flowing up and sweet maple syrup flowing down. Yes, I think we could think of it like that. What about the pyramid? TM. You mean the triangle shape and the two ends. We learned about quantified refraction methods of dissimilate to get an accurate count, for example for an atom collider. I imagined a pyramid but looking down like I was above it. The most sensitive or weakest layer would be the point. I thought about what you said about reaching up or out to pull in. How everyone is trying to get there. SC. To the top of the pyramid. TM. The top. I was thinking your method is similar to quantified reduction. You seem to think everything. I started thinking you always said things that were universally applicable. SC. The base of the pyramid. It's easy in that sense. Things get more tricky for the momentum gesture the narrower the quantified. Rectum gets. Sorry. TM. Okay, so let me try. Some are trying to get in with a downward momentum, whether by hand or foot. Others are trying to get out by walking in the sand and keeping our souls to the surface. We're inside and the pyramid as electronic energy is turning in or down. We walk along the pyramid walls in the dark with our fingers to keep our place. They stop and end up being compressed by the platform under which they're standing. We're safe because we scent expansive and keep moving like a plant seeking light in a shoe box. Are there holes in the platforms for our heads? The pyramid might start looking like a Christmas tree covered in ornaments. Will it light up in the winds? The tip of the pyramid is the rectal, I mean. A return to innocence like Eve and Adam. Upside down in the final stage for charting a reflection. Is that it? SC. Is there anyone in the room with you? TM. Yes, how did you know? SC. Male or female? TM. Does it matter? SC. Yes. TM. Female. SC. Okay. No more friends for our discussions, okay? TM. Okay, smiley face. I like how you take yourself so seriously. SC. Who is it? TM. She's a classmate, she got interested in our email. I showed her one about the tree. She grew up in a Catholic home. Is it okay? She's really cool. SC. Yes, I think it is a trick related to the womb experience. The gesture over time is meant to become more deliberate. Andy Warhol's statement, "I came out of the womb on a surfboard." The top is a sensational memory of unchallenged perfection. The tyrant thinks it is in reach if just. For the religious, the external presence of observation is the proof of the fallen nature. Mystery person. Hi, this is Lisa. I heard you are a criminal. SC. Yes. Mystery person. A sex pervert. Is this your sort of Unabomb for the world, because things didn't work out for you? It's very intelligent, it seems like the thoughts of the suicidal. SC. You have a young person's honesty, otherwise I would distrust you. I don't mind mild curiosity. No, I think it's beyond suicide for me. Mystery person. You think Christianity, the whole world is wrong about something. SC. It's not content for me, just orientation. I like the content though, I have favorites like anyone. Mystery person. Like the pyramid. SC. Yes, was that you? Who put together the rectum? Mystery person. We both thought it out, were bright people. SC. I heard. Mystery person. So orientation is trying to return to the sensation of a womb or coming out surfing. SC. For future reference, it precedes the principle, the first principle, as a definition of content for the momentum. Of course, the same principle of content can be used to orient either momentum. The fleeting satiation is evidence of imperfection. The first instance becomes the former reference for the progression of their experience. Our experience. I only want to communicate with TM. You can participate, I would just prefer not to speak directly. TM. No problem. I have a question. You said you thought the camel was the earth and the eye of the needle was in the sun, from the Jesus parable. You told my mom that every rich person in her church was to be described as the exceptional. That was so creative, we're wondering where it came from. Maybe you were just joking. SC. Are you working on a science project? TM. You mean lacking material for schoolwork? SC. Okay. I started to wonder about the condition of the universe. The solar system mostly. It seemed off somehow to me, but how to describe it? Mostly just imaginings. I thought Mars seemed like a planet that had lost its atmosphere, what the Earth might look like in a few million years if something similar happened. The fluctuating polar vortex on Saturn is interesting. The black hole on Jupiter. The moon, of course, Pluto. There was a clumsiness to it I was trying to square with universal expanse and a settling of orbs or equilibrium masses. I supposed any kind of scenario was possible, but I wasn't really ready for the solution. I learned as the second one was happening, that we lobbed nuclear satellites into Jupiter and Saturn. The missile has been launched. That there could be a long-term value to that kind of exploration, like a collapsing equation of thoughts and method. Then I learned that the sun was measured at half mass. I started to wonder about the entropic properties associated with the final stages of a life cycle. The difference of reaching 45, and then on from there if we were to imagine 90 as a typical life cycle for Earth. I thought about an evolving articulation biological, that would only evolve far enough according to our pattern of observable experience to be able to understand the facts of our own environmental experience collapsing around us. Like Pompeii or Atlantis. The long line progressions are evolving articulation, from position like a plant, chemical stimulus, reaction times, a recognition of sharing the environment with something different, something similar like tribes of monkeys. Mind was developed for a solution, and we poisoned our waters with chemical toxins and planted nuclear waste next to aquifers. Evolution in that sense could not be considered a rational process, because appetite, maybe I thought at the time, dominated all our intuitions. On a long line or string, The behavior seemed to match what we observed on the other planets, a trail of destruction once capacity was added to the sequence. It's just imagination, there's more to it, but I started to think about the sun again in the context of the Mayan solar count. This was around 2015 when I started having time for more thinking. The Meso calendar was considered a long-line solar count. Everyone was expecting something bad to happen. The end of the count represented the end of something. Then I realized it coincided with the half-life status of the sun, and I started thinking about the calendar again. Just the roundness of it, the shapes. Nothing specific. I wondered if the tendency or intuition to anticipate the end of the world regarding the end of a long solar cycle like that, the Book of Revelations, if it wasn't an expectation that assumed rightly our own behavior would have to be caught up with. We don't expect that our own decisions will lead to something better. We may not really understand why we have it so good, so the fear or intuition is that it will end, and not expand or open up and become better. Is this interesting? TM. It's good. Keep going, it's late here and we're bored. I told her you were interesting. SC. Okay. So I wondered again about the dynamic reference of the pyramid. The tomb reference. I wondered about it opening up or being sealed through a collapsing quantification of Orient, the Pythagorean reference. He came back with that reference after studying with the priests, temple priests in Egypt, so I wondered if it couldn't be related to the design layout of the solar temple. Then it happened. My imagination opened up, haha. I happened to hear how Tesla discovered the schematic for the Tesla coil, and I became certain I was onto something. The 4 divisions, the coil, the repellent features with an external harness for kaleidoscopic radiance or amplified, I guess at this point, radiation, etc. I learned about that last part while trying to work through broad spectrum alternating currents. For some reason I had a series of thoughts that led me to put hot salmon in a ceramic bowl and pour a can of chicken noodle soup on top. Without quite yet understanding the implication, I put the ceramic bowl in a cooking pot with a copper bottom and it barely fit. I then had to go to the bathroom. When I came back I touched the soup because I had planned on putting the ceramic bowl in the microwave and quickly warming it, but the soup itself had become piping hot. So anyway, radiant amplification. I learned quantum mechanics by installing raingutter and to some extent symmetry. So that's just kind of how it worked for me. Back to the point, I had the thought that the ending of the meso-solar count could be double-sided. It would either open up like a pyramid, I imagined a sun split once and then twice, eventually to 4 of a kind. Or I imagined, it could also collapse through inversion. Potentially though, 4 suns surrounding the envelope of our system. Then I read about what I later considered the solar inversion of July 23, 2012. So I figure now that's what happened, but there was more to the thinking in terms of what led me to it. There's 210 cycles on the pyramid at Giza. We are in the 21st solar cycle, so the symmetry quantization could be inverse to the supersymmetry potential as an equation. An equation potentially laid out in the Mayan solar count that ended in 2012. I think the point of it is there are boundaries but no limits. Pressing into leverageable attributes of inverse symmetry isn't a unique circumstance in this system because here, the value is a sightline accumulation for the potential of harvesting the benefit. The Flint reaction is an inference to the innuendo of ownership. Ownership by connotative association, critiqued repetition, mere consumption, identity to direct attachment, slavery here, buying someone's music there. The sightline, be careful when you enter. It's not inspiration, it's more like owning or controlling the gratifying element, or God particle, ha ha.